Birth, always a beginning. If enlightened people are reborn, are they born enlightened? Does enlightenment also get carried onto the next birth? And specifically, in my case, people ask if I had two enlightened lives behind me. Why did the experience on Chamundi Hills have to wait until I was 25 years of age? We already saw that for most people, their moment of enlightenment and their moment of leaving the body is the same. When their energies reach a certain pitch, they leave the body. That moment of leaving the body is also enlightenment for them. So unless they have a certain mastery over the mechanics of the body and they manage to retain their body because they have some specific work to do, the question of coming back does not arise. If your objective is just liberation, then enlightenment and living the body will always be together. If you have other objectives of wanting to do something else with what freedom you have found within yourself, then there is something more to be done. It is just like this. Let us say you release a prisoner from the prison. He is liberated. He goes away. He never again wants to get back to the prison. But there are some who are ambitious enough or stupid enough to want to not only become free from the prison but also run the prison. He is a prisoner, but now he wants to become a prison officer. Only when you have this kind of a problem, you retain your body. Otherwise, the normal prisoner's aspiration is to somehow get out. He will not seek employment in the prison. It takes an idiot like me to do that. So will a person who is enlightened be born enlightened? If you take a mango saplings, it has all the qualities of a mango tree. It is capable of producing mangoes, but it does not spring out mangoes the moment it sprouts out of the ground. It takes its time. Nature allows this time for the mango sapling to grow to a certain sturdiness, strength, maturity, balance, and capability to hold its ground. Only then it flowers and fruits. The moment two leaves sprout, if the mangoes appear, the tree could die. So it will wait for it to come up to a certain height and sturdiness. Only then the mangoes will come out. Similarly, an enlightened being has certain qualities which are enshrined in him or her, which cannot be taken away. But when he is born like anyone. The qualities are still there, inherent in him. It will wait for a certain time and space where it can find expression. This is the intelligence of nature. It knows exactly when it should flower to find maximum fruit. If it flowers too early, it will not find its full fruit. So it will wait. Depending on what type of work he intends to take up, accordingly he will develop. We have seen this in India for a long time. Many Bala yogis become enlightened by the age of 6 or 7. Most of them never cross the age of 25 or 30. Before that, they will go because they cannot sustain the body at that intensity of existence. So if nature gives sufficient space that the mind, body and emotions develop and mature in a certain way before the dimension becomes alive in that person, they can hold it much better. This is true of me also. Although there was an experience of living an enlightened life for 2 lifetimes, I still had to wait until the age of 25 before the reminder hit me. This is because the very reason why this body was taken this time was fundamentally for the consecration of the Dhyanalinga. For this, it is not just enlightenment, you need a perfect body in many ways. When I say perfect, I am not referring to athletic perfection, but a perfect body in terms of management of your energies and what you can do with it. This is not possible in a child. When I look back at those 25 years, the way activity happened in my life, the kind of activity that happened, it all occurred in perfect progression for my purpose. Everything happened in such a way that everything that was necessary for the development of this body and this mind and stabilizing my emotions naturally happened as a process of living. For example, at the age of 12, though I was someone who was wild, playing, climbing trees, trekking and doing things like this, the best yoga teacher that was available in southern India came to me and somehow inspired me to learn yogic practice. And without a single word or thought, I just took it on. Some 12 years later, big things happened to me. So this process of when it should happen is nature's intelligence. You never question nature's intelligence because your intelligence is too small to question the intelligence of nature. Whatever happens naturally is always right. There is no question about it. It is just that your short-term goals and objectives may not be in tune with what is happening, so you struggle with it. But in the real sense, it cannot be wrong. It always moves in the right direction because nature does not decide things with thoughts and emotion. It just decides things as per your tendencies. This is not a thought. With thought, you can always make a mistake, but with tendencies, there can be no mistake. See, today you may think something is the right thing to do, but tomorrow, if you just start thinking in the opposite direction, at the end of that day, you can clearly come to a conclusion that this is not the best thing to do. This is the nature of thought. With thought, you can always make a mistake as it functions with very limited data, and most of the thoughts are just a mistake. But nature operates out of tendencies. A mango tree does not think how to produce a mango. Its tendency is like that. It just moves in that direction and just does what it has to do, and everything happens at the right moment. In my youth, I was not a person who was drawn towards spirituality, but at that time in my life, simply accidentally here and there, I just began to meet people on the spiritual path. At that time, just like that, things fell into place because the tendencies were slowly coming to the surface and the necessary support to manifest that also came. So for an enlightened being who is reborn, it depends on what type of work that person has an objective for his life. Accordingly, at the right time, things will happen. Enlightenment is about going beyond individuality and becoming available to universality.